Hey, 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 it's your girl Colorinata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. How y'all doing today, baby? That Facebook and Instagram outage, wasn't that something? I think it's still out. If it's not, I haven't checked it. I haven't checked it lately, but ooh, that was a lot going on. Anyway, I digress. Hey, this is Carla Renata. You have joined and tuned into the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata here on YouTube. It's also streaming live via LinkedIn and Twitter. So there's that. If you've never been here before, give me a big old thumbs up to let me know that you paid me a visit. And if you are on YouTube, click that bell for notifications and subscribe to the channel because you never know who I might have here. And what we do here is we do film reviews and we talk to people above and below the line in the film industry. I usually start out my week with my week. I usually start out the broadcast with what I did the week before and say hello to my peeps in the chat room. This week was a pretty busy week. You know, I'm still in Arkansas doing Designing Women, so I've been pretty much inundated with that and junkets and whatnot, but I saw a pretty good, healthy amount of films. I want to say hello to my boy, Brandon. Let's see what he's talking about. He says, he liked how I liked his reaction to Disney's Ghoul. Yes, of course. You like me, I like you. It's a reciprocal kind of thing. So of course. And I'm always glad to see you here. Always glad to see you here. So today, you guys, it's going to be a fast and furious show. I have so much content to show you. We're going to talk a little bit about I don't have Around the Curve because the interviews are really long. So Around the Curve can be found on my TikTok channel and Instagram when that comes back up. And so we're going to talk about a movie called Mass. I have interviews from the entire cast minus Martha Plimpton with that one because she had to work. And so that's a good thing. My sister's getting jobs. So I'm going to do a review of it today, and then I'll play the interviews next week. I'm doing a review of a film called Mayday. I'm going to do a review of Addams Family 2 because I did a little snippet of it last week, but this week I'm going to do the full review. And I have taped, it's October, y'all. It is Halloween month. So, of course, I got to give love to Welcome to the Blumhouse. I'm not a horror doll, but I love me some Welcome to the Blumhouse. It's a Jason Blum joint that airs on Amazon Prime every year, Amazon Studios. And so this week I have the star of Black as Night, Asia Cooper, and Marty Lego, who is the director. And then I also have Axel Carolyn from The Manor at Welcome to the Blumhouse. Sorry, I'm trying to read and talk and click all at the same time. And the next week, I'll talk to you about that when we get to the end of the show. We'll hold up, wait a minute. But so let me just start out by saying, I also have this taped interview for you guys. I've been promising Dan Stevens for 2 weeks. I know I've been promising it. But when I went to upload the file last week, for some reason, there was no audio. I was having tech gremlins last week, but I do have him this week. So, and I think I talked about the film last week. So here we go. We're going to give you a look and a listen. So take a look and a listen to this interview with my boy from I'm Your Man, Honey, Mr. Dan Stevens. Dude, let me just say, I really love this film because it put a concept out there. I'm like, somebody's going to watch this and try to make that happen if they haven't done it already. That's about to go down.
I think someone's probably working on it as we speak. Yeah.
But did you ever think that when you were studying Shakespeare that you would be in a film playing a human droid?
I guess the answer would be no, but that's one of the delightful things about my job is that anything's possible and anything can come your way and you can end up playing almost anything and this one was particularly enticing and surprising and delightful.
Well, Dan has everybody would want a man. Not Dan. Everybody, you're Dan. Everybody will want a man like Tom. Well, people will want a man like you too, but everybody will want a man like Tom because Tom went that extra mile. That scene with the rose petals in the bath and everything, that was so.
You'd like that? Yeah. See, Alma wasn't really into it, but
Alma was like, no, you can get rid of that. I was like,
yeah,
girl.
Maybe he'd been given your programming by accident. I don't know.
He can have my program all day long. I'm just saying it was a situation. I was like, yes, for the rose petals in the bath. But what is your best idea of what a romantic evening with your significant other would be?
Oh my goodness. Probably somewhere away from the children for a few hours. Doesn't matter where, just anywhere. We'll just go and sit in the car. It'd be lovely.
Not sit in the car. Well, at least would y'all at least order some food in or something?
Yeah.
Have a little
Take out
drive-in
in the car.
situation.
Is that romantic? I don't. It's been a while.
That makes me laugh so hard. I also want to ask you about your you're an editor, right? Are you still an editor of a publication?
Well, I don't think we're active anymore, but for a while I was with a group of friends editing an online literary magazine. Yeah.
So how does it feel for you to knowing that you are an editor / kind of journalist, and then have people asking you questions and you sit there going, now that they could have asked me this question instead.
I try and take that hat off and put a different hat on for this role. I think yes, yeah.
And how did you love working with the young woman who played Alma? Because y'all's chemistry seems so organic and beautiful and lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, Maren Egger is a very, very special actress, brilliant German actress who's actually acted in French a lot. So we had kind of that in common, in that she could talk about her experiences of acting in French. I was talking about my experience of acting in German, and she just gave such a beautiful, naturalistic human performance that I was admiring so much, and yet not, I guess, responding to in the conventional way. That kind of part of the fun of the dynamic is that he doesn't give her the usual feedback, the usual responses, and so for two actors, that was it took a minute to kind of find our groove. But I guess it meant that we worked doubly hard to find that, and I'm glad that comes across, because yeah, it was a special one.
It really was. Well, that is my time. I loved watching you play Tom, because now that I see you on camera, you're so effervescent and he's so like this. So it's nice to see that, you got some chops. All right, that Shakespearean, background paid off.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, bye.
I know I don't have no sense, but that's why y'all love me. That's why you tune in to watch me act a fool. Okay. Instihoo. All right. So that was I'm Your Man, starring Maren Eggert and Dan Stevens. It is in theaters right now and on some streaming service where you can find it streaming. So I'm Your Man. I saw this during the Toronto International Film Festival, and I was like, "Oh, do I really want to have do I want to create the perfect man for me in the form of a human droid?" I don't know. I think I might get bored with that. But anyway, it's a really great premise, and I really, really, really love that film. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Mass. Mass is this film that is directed and written and produced by Karen Sonor. It stars, I'm sorry, wrong film. Looking at the wrong film. This film, Mass, is directed and written and produced by Fran Krantz. I was looking down for another film. And it's produced by Bleecker Street Media. This film, there's so many mass tragedies that happen in the course of a year. There's been 21 mass shootings in 2021 already, 21 mass shootings in 2021 already, and there's still no ban on assault weapons in this country, which is bananas and just boggles my mind. But having said that, this film deals with the aftermath of those types of violent tragedies and how it affects two couples in different ways. The two couples are, one couple is the victim's parents and the other couple are the shooter's parents. We've seen mass shooting movies, mass shooting documentaries a million times, but I don't recall ever seeing it from the vantage point of the victim's parents and the shooter's parents and having those four people in the same room. When I tell y'all Ann Dowd, Reed Birney, Jason Isaacs, and Martha Plimpton are giving y'all a masterclass in acting, because it's what they don't say that says volumes, I'm not kidding. It is the most powerful, it's hands down the most powerful film I have seen in 2021. I love this movie so much. There's a line where Jason Isaacs' character is talking about, not Jason Isaac, Reed Birney's character is talking about their son. And he's like, there were 10 people in this particular mass shooting in the confines of this film. There were 10 people that the shooter shot, plus the shooter, so 11 altogether. And Reed Birney's character says, the world mourned 10, we mourned 11. To me, that is the most powerful statement in that entire film. I've it it's just wonderful. It's just really, really wonderful. And it also deals with the reconciliation of the parents, wondering if they did enough to protect their children, whether they were the shooter or whether they were the victims. And I can't imagine, after the cameras stop rolling, these people have to go on with their lives. They have to mourn the loss of a child that is gone, or an adult in some instances. The shooters, parents have to mourn the loss of their kid and then spend the rest of their life trying to figure out where they went wrong. It's heartbreaking, but so good. Really, really, really good. It opens this week. I believe it opens on October 9th. I'll double check that date for you and give it to you at the end of the show. But it opens and it is wonderful. If you have the opportunity to see this and see it at a theater, please get yourself there to see Mass. Written and directed and produced by Fran Kranz. All right, now this one is the one I was going to talk about, Mayday. Mayday is directed and written by Karen Sonora. That's the one that's written and directed by Karen Sonora. And it opened on October 1st. Baby, this is the craziest movie I ever saw. It's the craziest movie. It's like this avant-garde drama, thriller, crazy ass movie that at first I was like, what am I watching? Do I really want to finish watching this? And then I found myself intrigued, because then I discovered that there's these 4 girls who are transported to like this dreamlike dangerous land where where this one girl joins an army of the other girls, 3 in total. And they're engaged in this never-ending war. The never-ending war is against men. So that for me is what made it really interesting, that all 4 of these young girls in some shape, form, or fashion had been either attacked by a man or had some negative experience with a man of some age, of some circumstance. And so these men end up on this island and they just take them out. They're just taking them out like, they do in a video game. That was intriguing to me, because there's one line that Marsha, who's played by Mia Goth, she says to Grace Van Patten, who plays Anna. She said, Anna says to Marsha, no, Marsha says to Anna, I made you a hero. And Anna says, you made me a psychopath. And then Marsha says, it's the same thing. Baby, when she said being a psychopath and a hero is the same thing, I was like, ooh, okay, Karen Sonora, you trying to mess with a sister. But I really enjoyed it. The first half, it was a little slow to kick in, but once it kicked in, ooh, baby, I was there full throttle all the way. It stars Grace Van Patten as Anna, Mia Goth as Marsha, Soko as Gert, and Havana Rose Liu as B. Y'all, you should just see this film just so it can mess with your head, because it's crazy. It was crazy, but I enjoyed it because it wasn't like anything else I'd ever seen. I really kind of enjoyed it. All right, so on to the next thing. Welcome to the Blumhouse, baby. So Black is Night is now streaming on Amazon Prime as one of the 4 films that are going to be featured as Welcome to the Blumhouse. It is October. It is Ghoul Month. We got all of that going on. So, the curvy critic got to come with it too, even though horror is not my favorite thing, but I do love a good thriller. And Black is Night is a different kind of thriller, because it's more like a horror movie. It's dealing with vampires and whatnot, but it's dealing with vampires from a colorism standpoint and a slavery standpoint, which I was like, well, okay, Marty Lego, Miss Director. Okay, I see you. I appreciate the fact that Marty tackles this colorism and slavery and encompasses it into this story. It's these Black vampires are preying on the homeless, but it goes back to where these particular group of vampires came from and why they are preying on the homeless and why they are taking lives. And Asia's character is the only one who's not fazed by it, because her skin is so dark and so melanated that it protects her from the sun, unlike other vampires. I know, it's crazy. And the movie is crazy too. but I loved how they were interweaving all these different themes. So I have an interview with Asia and Marty from Welcome to the Blumhouse. So take a look and a listen, and we're gonna talk more about the film in the interview. So I won't spoil it all for you. Okay, here we go. Hi, Marty and Asia. How y'all doing?
Hi, how are you?
I am well. I am well. Black as Night was such a hip version on the vampire trope. You know, we've seen this done a million times, a million different ways. But this was a really, like, the dialogue was hip, the whole situation was hip, the clothes was hip, Asia was hip. It was just cool. It was really cool. But I wanted to ask Asia, girl, when you started acting and you went to school to train, did you think you was gonna be slaying vampires?
No, but I'm excited. I mean, I didn't even know if I could ever be a lead. You know, when I started out, I wasn't seeing a lot of people that looked like me. So I was just very excited that I was provided this opportunity. This was just like literally a dream come true.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And Marty, I read somewhere that you started as an actress and then you made that transition into directing because you got tired of seeing people of color, especially Asian women, being boxed in, so to speak. Is that correct?
Absolutely, 1000%. I was, as soon as I moved to LA, I was typecast in a role such as the geisha, the nail technician, or the masseuse, and very, you know, I couldn't even play characters that could speak English. I saw no representation, and I decided to take that power into my own hands. I went to film school so that I could write, produce, and direct movies and television shows that represented us properly. I wanted to see fully fledged characters with vulnerabilities, with desires and dreams and flaws, and getting this movie was really a dream come true because everything I had wanted, I read within this character. Sherman Payne created such a beautiful story. And, you know, even as a man, being able to write the inner workings of a woman's mind and really explore that was so powerful. And I felt seen through that. And so it was such an honor to work on something that I've been waiting for my whole life.
Oh, that's so beautifully expressed. Thank you for that.
Thank
Get
you.
it, Marty.
Yes.
But now I'll flip it to Marty and talk about shooting in New Orleans and how there's been all these horror films. Like, I think they shot JD's Revenge back in the day. They shot that in New Orleans, and that's like a legendary Black horror film. You know what I mean? Can you just speak to that for a second for me, if you don't?
I love that we shot New Orleans. It's one of my favorite places in the world. It has so much history. The buildings, the architecture are hundreds and hundreds of years old. So there's so much history embedded in the land. And the beautiful thing about the script is that it explores all of history. And we're telling this story of so much traumatic, so many traumatic events and unrest that has built up through history. And so New Orleans was very easily the best place to shoot it because it's embedded there. You know, you could see it in the buildings. The mansion that we shot at used to be a plantation. Those photos that we have within the movie are real photos. And so you know, you go to somewhere like, you know, LA or like Florida, where the buildings are 20 to 50 years old, they don't hold the same weight in the history that New Orleans has.
They keep talking about how beautiful your skin is and how dark your skin is. And that's something else that kind of struck me too, because in the Black community, oftentimes the darker your skin is, the more people seem to have issues. And I don't know what that's about. And I don't understand that. And I think it's stupid. But it happens all the time. So as a young chocolate melanated young actress, Asia, how did you feel about playing a character that was empowering that and not being ashamed of it?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, I was telling Marty that, you know, when I first read the script, that was something that I was so drawn to, was the fact that it tackled colorism. And I was so drawn to Shauna because I really felt like, in a way, I was playing the younger version of myself, because all of her insecurities I also dealt with growing up. Like, when, you know, she was wearing her hoodie in the middle of summer because she didn't want to get darker. I remember I would run from the front door of my house to the car and trying to be in the sun as little as possible, because in our community, the darker you are, the more you're deemed unattractive and
Exactly.
desirable. And it's not true, but that's just what we've always been told, you know? And that's also trauma that goes all the way back to slavery. It's embedded in that. Everything's like embedded from our past. And so I was really happy that this role was specifically carved out for a darker skinned Black woman. I was so happy about that. And I was happy that she was seen as desirable and worthy of love, and she was vulnerable and she was full-fledged, and she just wasn't like a stereotype, you know? And she was seen as beautiful, and I loved her journey of her finding her confidence and finding her security and her beauty from within. And I think it's important for young people to see. And so, yeah, I was really proud.
And I am proud of you for communicating that, because I think it's important. And I think when some little young melanated girl watches this and hears you say those words, it's going to empower her. And even if she's not a little girl, even as a young woman, it will empower her. Even as a woman of my age, it will empower her, because we need to let folk know it doesn't matter what tone of melanin you are. We're all really beautiful, period. That's it.
That was amazingly said. That makes me want to cry. I love that.
Oh, Marty.
Thank you.
Well, this is my time, but I want to say this before I get up out of here. I am a huge proponent of women directors. I'm so happy that you were the person, attached to this film. You did a wonderful job, and I'm looking forward to seeing more work from you in the future. And Miss Asia, I know I'll see you somewhere soon, so I'm not even worried about that. But I want to take the opportunity to thank both of you for your time today. Thank you so much for making time for me. I really appreciate it.
You are a beautiful soul. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye.
I've been called a lot of things, but a beautiful soul has never been one of them. So thank you, Marty. Thank you, Asia. And you guys, Black is Night is part of Welcome to Blumhouse. It is streaming on Amazon Studios, Amazon Prime Video right now. Before I get to The Manor, which is also part of the Blumhouse, I want to talk a little bit about Addams Family too, because I promised you I would talk about that last week, and I did not, because I realized that I was going to be messing up the embargo if I did that. But let me say hello to Kenneth Williams before I move on. Hi, Kenneth. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate you. All right, so Addams Family 2. It is now in theaters. It is produced by Bronze Studios and United Artists. It's directed by Greg Tiernan, Conrad Vernon, co-directed by Laura Brosal and Kevin Pavlovic. All right, so Addams Family 2 picks up where the Addams family is on vacation, and somewhere in the midst of this vacation, this inventor, Cyrus Strange, believes that Wednesday is his biological daughter. So that is the premise of the film. They're trying to figure out if Wednesday really is Dr. Strange's biological daughter, or she really is an Addams. She goes to stay with the Stranges, and it's just a whole situation. And now Wednesday is being pursued by this inventor as well. And apparently the reason this happened, or the way it must have happened, is because Uncle Fester must have switched the babies when Wednesday was born. And they make a joke about it, saying she was socially distanced at birth, which I thought was really funny. Insti-hoo. And a couple of other things that I thought was funny. There's this, it's like if you've ever seen the movie Carrie, there's like this blood moment at the prom. They kind of make fun of that a little bit in this film. They do a little homage to that. I love the fact that at one point somebody's ringtone was "Who Can It Be Now," which made me laugh out loud. And I love Lurch playing "I Will Survive." It's just silly fun, but I kind of loved it. I always love watching Wednesday torture Pugsley. It's just pure comedy. But this time she was doing it with a voodoo doll, which was crazy as hell. I love the Addams Family. I love everything about it. I'm a big animated feature fan, as Brandon knows. But this one was a little sluggish for me. It was a little sluggish for most of the film. And but I did love the investigation of the fact that maybe Wednesday was not an Addams. I thought that was interesting, and that made it fun for me to watch. But it was a little slow. It took a minute before it picked up. So again, Addams Family 2 is produced by Bronze Studios and United Artists, and it is in theaters right now. All right, so now I talked to the director of this other Welcome to Blumhouse film. Her name is Axel, Carolyn, and the film is called The Manor, and it centers around a woman who has had a stroke, and her family believes that the best course of action for her at this juncture in her life, which is in her 70s, is to be placed in a home with other people her age. She believes she's going to have freedom, and then they take her phone and it becomes a situation. But the biggest lesson that is learned in this film is that it approaches the vantage point of, if somebody came to you in your older age and offered you the opportunity to live eternally, would you take that opportunity, or would you want to live out the natural course of your life? That is the theme of that movie, and that is why I kind of loved it. And I loved Barbara Hershey in the lead role, because Barbara Hershey is in her 70s, and she's very vibrant, and she's on it, and her skill set and her performance is great. And I'm just happy to see somebody that's over 50 starring in a movie and being good at it, because Hollywood seems to get caught up in this age thing. Barbara Hershey is showing you age ain't nothing but a number. You either got the chops or you don't. So kudos to you, Barbara Hershey, and kudos to you, Axel Carolyn, for casting her. I kind of love that. I also love seeing Jill Larson in it too, because I used to be a huge fan of All My Children and was on All My Children as a day player like 10,000 years ago. So I loved seeing her in there too, playing a role that was a little unconventional for her. But we talk more about the film in this interview. So take a look and a listen to this interview with Miss Axel Carolyn from The Manor at Welcome to the Blumhouse. Axel, what's going on?
How are you?
I am wonderful, and I really enjoyed The Manor. I love things in the horror genre that air more on the thriller side than the horror gory side. So, and this one really kind of resonated with me because I'm caretaker for my mom. So the whole, mom having a stroke, going into this home situation, and it being less than ideal was like, whoa. Have you been in a situation where you've had to deal with a loved one, placing them someplace like that and having it not be ideal? Is that where the inspiration for this came from?
It wasn't so much that it wasn't ideal. I feel like nursing home jobs must be incredibly hard. So I have nothing but respect for nursing staff. But there's just something about nursing homes in general, and of seeing loved ones age and reach the last stages of their lives, that's so incredibly moving and incredibly affecting. And I think I saw that with my granddad first, being moved into a nursing home. And then I saw it with my dad, who was very young when it happened, but he had dementia. And so he went very quickly from being a college professor to being someone who had to be helped to eat. And all of that is, again, is very affecting. And so it felt like I had to channel that into something and express it somehow, because it's just a good way for me to just get through difficult emotions. And it came out because I'm a horror fan and I find some comfort in the ideas of supernatural elements. It came out as a supernatural mystery. So.
I kind of love that. So speaking of supernatural elements, how did you hook up with the Welcome to the Blumhouse? Because this is like I'm not a big fan of Halloween or any of that, but I love Welcome to the Blumhouse. So what happened?
Oh,
how did you come into this family of Jason Blum and Welcome to the Blumhouse?
Well, I wrote the script a few years ago, and it took a while to find the right home for it, because when you have a script where the protagonist is in her 70s, first of all, a woman, and then in her 70s, those are elements that make it a little bit different.
Yes.
And so a lot of places thought, well, what if she was younger? What if we made the grandson the protagonist? But that's not the subject matter of the film. So that was never appealing to me. And so it took a while to find the right home, which it turns out was Amazon. Amazon were the ones who picked it up. And because they were just starting their partnership with Blumhouse, they sent it to Blumhouse, who decided to make it part of the Welcome to the Blumhouse package. And mine was actually shot to be released last year. And we pushed it back because of the pandemic, because of, the tragedy happening in nursing homes at the time. Yeah. And it just felt like it was not the appropriate time to release something like this. And but it was the second one to be shot. So we shot it in LA. It was a little bit different from the others. They hadn't quite established the way that everything was going to work just yet, which kind of worked to my advantage because I got to make it a little bit more like, my own team. But yeah, they were the ones who believed in this project and who truly supported it and helped me put it to life.
Yeah, I think Welcome to the Blumhouse and Amazon is the perfect place for this story because this studio in particular always goes outside the box with their choices and their content. So you got the right one. You got the right one, baby, on this one. Yeah, you did. And I did a little digging around, and I know that you are a blogger, or you may have been a blogger. I'm not sure if you still are, but you have something called The Halloween Kid. Is that what it's called?
Oh, that was a short film I made when I was starting to direct, and I made a blog to go with it because we were raising money for that, and I was making a blog to update people on the progress of the movie. Yeah, but okay, I started as a journalist.
I know. I read that. I was like, oh, she started out as a journalist. She had a blog. I'm like, okay, I have a blog. I'm like, okay, we got a lot in common. But I noticed that the blog was leaning toward the Halloween horror supernatural theme. So I'm like, oh, she's got a theme going on. And you worked with American Horror Story too, right?
Yeah. Everything I do is horror one way or another. I mean, you can see my
right. What is it that draws you?
Focus.
Yeah, what is it that draws you to that genre? What is it about horror, thrillers, supernatural type stories that draws you to that and makes you want to draft a story around it in that world?
Yeah, I've always been fascinated by, in particular, supernatural horror. Like even as a kid, I can remember just, there's that Disney cartoon with the skeletons coming to life and they have a little dance and then they go back and like that little black and white cartoon. I saw that when I was a tiny kid and it was just the most awesome thing. And it made me so scared of skeletons. Go figure why. But also made me feel like, I think there's something, it's like unconscious, but there's something comforting about that because it feels like we're all scared of dying. We're all scared of death. We're all scared of seeing someone else, losing someone else. But if death is being a little skeleton who has a dance with his skeleton buddies at night, that's very comforting and very sweet. And so I think that kind of grew out of that. I think it kind of grew out of that like haunted mansion type of having fun with the ghosts kind of thing. And then I love all the scary aspects of it too. But to me, the movies that I make, even when I want them to be scary, always come out that one way or another, you find some comfort in the supernatural. And I think that this one follows the same pattern as well.
I would agree with you on that one because I am not the horror doll. I'm not that girl. I am that person that I have to watch. If I watch something scary, I have to watch it during the day because I see stuff in the shadows. Like I'm that person. I'm the worst. I am the worst.
Well, see, I really envy that because I don't get scared very easily, but I love getting scared. And so I just, if a movie keeps me up at night, that almost never happens. But when it does, the best. It's the best.
Well, girl, I envy you because I wish I could be that person, but I am so not that doll. But what I would also love about the manor is the message of eternal life, that the lead character played by Barbara Hershey, she has the option to either take the natural course of what's happening with her or not. And so there's this eternal life thing happen. So having said that, I want to ask you, if you had the option to live your life and run its course the way we've been taught and believed that life runs its natural course, would you take that option or would you opt for an eternal life?
Like, do I want to age gracefully or will I do everything I can to kicking and screaming, refuse to look at this? Like, you see, Botox, baby. Like,
oh no, girl, I couldn't see none of that.
Nuke the wrinkles. I will nuke the wrinkles. I do not want any part of that.
You did not say I will nuke the wrinkles.
I don't think there's anything wrong about aging whatsoever. And I think that I don't want people to take that message away from this movie because that's not the point at all. But I do think that we have very few, as women especially, I feel like we are often sent the message that over a certain age, we're past our purpose. And that's a terrifying idea. And the idea that for some people, it's very young. Like, you know, how it's hard for an actor over 35 or 40 to find parts in Hollywood. Like those kinds of things that you hear is kind of like, oh, so your value is not the same anymore. I find those ideas very scary. And so those are the kinds of things that I wanted to look at. It was kind of more like the way that we consider people of a certain age, the way that we treat them, the way that that's what I find terrifying. The way that sometimes we take their agency away, the way that we look at people differently. If I told you I'm 25, you would look at me very differently from if I told you that I'm 45. Like, you would consider right away, we judge people depending on how old they are. And all those things are out of our control. And none of that is particularly fun. And so rather than commenting on age itself, I wanted to comment on the way that we, as a society, kind of view what's around that. And yeah.
Yeah, well, you got the wrong one, because Black don't crack over here. But I think that's the perfect note for us to end on, talking about aging and not aging and the way we're seen in the industry, because you're absolutely right on all points. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. So kudos and snaps and claps to you for creating a story that challenges that. I thank you for that. And I thank you for taking time out for me today. It was great.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you and speak to you.
It was nice to meet you too, Axel. Bye.
Bye.
Baby, when she said nuke the wrinkles, I thought I was going to fall out of the floor and holler. I loved talking to Axel. I loved that wonderful, candid conversation that we had about aging. And she's absolutely right about everything that she says. I'm over a certain age too, but I'm out here doing my thing and I'm being bright and vibrant about it. So age ain't nothing but a number, honey. Don't let no age stop you from doing anything. I am living proof. Before I go, let me just acknowledge some things that Brandon says. He said he also likes watching Nightmare Before Christmas every Halloween. And he also said that he can't wait to see Ron Gone. I got Ron's Gone Wrong for you. I've seen it, buddy, and I will hit it when it is about to drop. I promise you that. I promise you that. I promise you that. And I just, again, am going to acknowledge my boy, Kenneth Williams. Thank you for hopping in. But I'm gonna talk about my boy Michael B, because he just dipped out on me and ain't came back. Yes, I'm talking about you, Michael B, and I know you're gonna see this, so you better come back sometime soon. Anyway, I just want to hit those dates for those films for you again. Addams Family 2 is in theaters now. Black as Night is currently playing on Amazon Prime Video. The Manor, which is part of Welcome to the Blumhouse, just as Black as Night is. The Manor debuts on October 7th, which is this week, this Thursday, I believe. And Mass will hit on October 8th. So hold up, wait a minute. I got some more stuff for you. Next week, I have Needle in a Time Stack director, John Ridley. John Ridley's also doing some Marvel stuff. He got a lot going on. So I'll be talking to him. I'll have those interviews from the cast of Mass, Reed Birney, Ann Dowd, and Jason Isaacs. I will also be talking about Extinct, SEAL Team, and Hard Luck Song. So thank you so much for joining me, y'all. I had so much fun talking to y'all and acting a fool. If this is your first time joining me, I am your host, Carla Renata, and you have tuned into The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Give me 2 thumbs up to let me know you were here. Subscribe to that channel. Click that bell for notifications if you are on YouTube. And if you are on the other platforms that it is streaming on Twitter, holla at your girl. Let me know that you saw it. LinkedIn, holla at your girl. Let me know that you saw it. And it'll be all good in the hood. Okay? All right, so tune in next week. I got John Ridley and the Mass Cast. The Mass Cast, that sounds so crazy, don't it? And yeah, so until next week, wash your hands, stay safe. Sooner or later, we're going to be out of this COVID situation where we ain't got to wear a mask everywhere. And love, peace, and hair grease, and deuces. Until the next time, bye.